Hi, good evening, Smalls Creek Ravine and Williamson Ravine community and supporters. My name is Michael Turk, and I wanted to provide us and you with some commentary after the dialogue we just had with Metrolinx. I wanted to thank Stephanie, Jason, David, Emmanuel, Gretel, Mr. Potts, Jesse, and Oscar, and all other speakers and the narrator of this evening's presentation. It was really done well, and there's a lot of speakers, and we learned a lot of information. That being said, a real two-way dialogue could have included some folks from the Smalls Creek Ravine. Several times it referred to community meetings, but the community was not invited or asked to speak or have any commentary or rebuttal. So tonight I wanted to make some comments on some words and sentences spoken, and I wanted to share the Smalls Creek Ravine and my opinion with you. This is very much my opinion. I'm writing it in the moment here. So Stephanie, the walking path. In our opinion, in my opinion, you did not answer the question. You spoke about what would be closed during construction. I believe the heart of the question was, have the walking paths been part of your construction plan? Will there be a walking path in the northern part of Smalls Creek Ravine and southern part of Smalls Creek Ravine as there is today? Our understanding is that all walking paths were not present on drawings or restoration. And our understanding is that right now the walking path would be inaccessible due to the culvert location and fences on the ravine. We ask that you answer the question and tell us what the future of the ravine will be for the human use of the park, the socioeconomic recreational use of the park. Stephanie, the technical team is not happy with the solutions that we discussed. Essentially, we met with Metrolinx in a technical meeting and we were told, no, there are no other options. These are no other options. And it's really interesting that the two options you discussed tonight that you evaluated are the same two options that came from a community group. What we ask is for proof and evidence that those evaluations were really completed and they were really evaluated. What it seems to us right now is you pulled your rule book out and said, nope, no tiebacks, so a secant pile is not allowed. And TCRA told us, so we had to abide by what TCRA told us in terms of a geoengineered wall. Jason, impact to the ESA. We don't believe the plans were made to minimize the impact on the ESA. Right now, you have told us the plans are worst case scenario, maximum destruction that could be possible. Why have you not re-engineered those plans to be precise, to be surgically needed? Right now, it's just a broad stroke. That is not minimal impact. Jason, invasive species. They are not good. But when you destroy an entire bankment of a ravine ecosystem, you have something called what's edge effect. The edge effect will be, in our professional opinion, there will be no more water in certain months at the creek. There is so much nature being exposed to the conditions that when you remove those trees, native and invasive, you will effectively change the ecological land classification of this ravine. So yes, you said you're going to remove a lot of invasive trees, but you're also creating an environment that will let invasive species flourish. The dog park is full of invasive species and they are maintained. Those seeds will float down the hill that you showed of natural grass and they'll grow again because after 2 years, your commitment is done. In conversations with the technical team, we asked you, is there a guarantee the ecological land classification will remain beyond 2 years? Will it still be a wooded forest? There was silence on the other end of the phone. We don't know. Gretel, we want to thank you for your answer, which seemed to be one of the most truthful answers tonight, where you said we're working on it. Maybe the ecological restoration was not done correctly and we're going to do it again. That is what we heard, so I want to say thank you. Mr. Potts, we disagree that it's a 5 to 10 year artistic rendering of the ravine. We believe it's more like a 10 to 20 year rendering. Jesse, the question was about a peer review. In your answer, you used the words we are professionals over and over again. You never answered the question around actually doing a peer review. A real peer review uses another firm to give you recommendations. You essentially said, we did it right, and the TCRA told us we did. The TRCA has no approval power here. They are doing a voluntary review. David P. The meeting tonight, this is a part of community consultation, and we thank you for it. But Metrolinx is talking to the community, and that's it. Tonight reflects the meetings we've had as a technical and ecological team. There's been no solid change. There's been no solid agreement. It's great to dialogue and we appreciate it, but you can't use the technical meetings and ecological meetings we have had to state that there's real change and real satisfaction against what we're asking for, because there's not at this point. We're hopeful we'll get there. Jason, you spoke about easements tonight. Easements as in we only want to expropriate in the last case, worst case scenario. But we were told that you are actively conducting the process to expropriate the land from the city and trying to dialogue. Does that mean that there's a problem with this design, that you are actively executing the worst case scenario in terms of expropriation? To us, this seems extreme, that if you need to expropriate the land because you can't come to common ground with the city or the community, it speaks to a problem with the design. And that goes back to us asking for a pause in this work. Stephanie, there's a question about Indigenous populations. You referred to the environmental assessment that was conducted in 2017. When you look at that, I'll tell you what page it's on. It sounds like an email was sent out to 6 to 10 Indigenous communities and you received comment back from 3 or 4 of them, maybe 5. And then you had a 1-hour meeting with those communities, maybe 3 hours, to go over the entire GO expansion work. The problem is in the environmental assessment itself, it does not talk about the work happening in Smalls Creek Ravine. It doesn't talk about it. It doesn't talk about the walking paths. It doesn't talk about the impact to the water and the exposed stream. It's not there because it wasn't known at the time. So to say that it was covered off is a little bit false, and we ask and look forward to further information. Emmanuel, your answer was a little bit wishy-washy about the noise. You hire the contractor. You tell the contractor what to do in terms of noise. Our expected answer from you, Emmanuel, would be, we are updating our contract. We are going to mandate mufflers, because I agree with you, community. Working 1 to 5 a.m. with loud equipment is not really reasonable. So we're going to ask our contractors to use muffled equipment. But instead, you kind of said we're going to wait for the contractor and mitigate as best we can. So overall, we're excited. We're having the dialogue. We're excited of the meetings we've had so far with Metrolinx, but we want to be really clear. The meetings of the technical team of Smalls Creek with Metrolinx and the ecological team with Smalls Creek and Metrolinx, and this meeting tonight, Smalls Creek is not happy. We do not feel there's two-way dialogue just yet. And we are going to be professional and patient, and we're going to wait for it to happen, and we'll be excited for when it happens. And we will celebrate Metrolinx and say thank you. But at this point in time, we are still waiting, and we're a little bit frustrated, to be honest. So thank you very much for the presentation tonight, Metrolinx, and taking the time to do it. And we look forward to speaking to you soon.